Welcome back to the deep dive. We've gotten a lot of questions about college admissions, especially from our fencing family listeners. So we decided to do a deep dive, and we've been doing a lot of research, talking to experts, and we've got some really great insights to share with you today.
I think it's going to be really helpful.
Yeah, so let's just dive right in. First of all, I have to give a shout out to our sponsor, Fencing Family on Etsy.
Love them.
Yeah, we love their stuff. They've got the coolest fencing apparel and accessories. So if you want to show off your fencing pride, check them out at fencingfamily.etsy.com.
You'd be glad you did.
Back to college admission. One thing that we found really interesting is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Absolutely not.
Every fencer is different. So you really need to develop a personalized strategy.
And that's where InGenius Prep comes in.
Tell us about InGenius Prep.
So they have a team of former college admissions officers.
Wow.
Who really understand what colleges are looking for.
And that's amazing.
And they work with students to develop those personalized strategies.
So it's not just about, like sending out a generic application.
No, not at all.
It's about really tailoring it to each individual student. So cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about academics, because we all know that academics are important.
Absolutely, the foundation.
Yeah, even for athletes.
Yeah, you can't just rely on your fencing skills.
Exactly. You need to have the grades to back it up.
Right.
But it's not just about getting straight A's.
No, it's not just about the GPA.
It's about more than that.
Colleges are looking for patterns in your grades and your course selection.
Patterns.
Yeah, like, have you challenged yourself academically? Have you shown improvement over time?
I see.
Are you taking courses that align with your interests and your future goals?
So it's like a bigger picture. So can you give us an example of what a good pattern would look like?
Sure. So let's say you're passionate about science and you want to study engineering in college.
Okay.
Colleges will be impressed if you've consistently challenged yourself with honors or AP science courses.
Okay.
Even if you didn't get perfect grades in those classes.
Right.
The fact that you pushed yourself outside your comfort zone.
It shows you're willing to learn.
Exactly. It shows a commitment to growth.
That makes sense. So it's not just about the grades themselves.
Right.
It's about the story that your transcript tells.
Exactly. It's about your academic journey.
That's a good way to put it.
And another thing to consider is the rigor of your course load.
Okay.
Relative to what's offered at your high school.
Right, because not all high schoolers are created equal. So if your school doesn't offer AP physics, but you took the most challenging physics course available,
colleges will take that into account.
They'll understand that you are trying to challenge yourself.
They want to see that you've taken advantage of the opportunities available to you.
I see.
And speaking of opportunities,
yes,
this is where your fencing experience comes into play.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Right.
Because I know a lot of fencers are curious about how their sport can boost their college application, especially if they're not being recruited. So even if you're not aiming to fence competitively in college,
your fencing experience can still be a valuable asset.
How so?
Well, it shows dedication,
okay,
discipline, time management skills,
right,
and a passion for something beyond academics.
All good things.
Yeah. These are all qualities that colleges find attractive in applicants.
But how do you translate those qualities onto a college application?
That's a good question.
How do you actually show them that you have those qualities?
Think about how your fencing experience has shaped you as a person.
Okay.
Have you overcome any challenges or setbacks?
Yeah.
Have you learned any valuable life lessons through the sport?
Like what?
Well, you could talk about how fencing taught you the importance of perseverance, resilience, qualities that would serve you well in a challenging academic environment. It's about showcasing your unique story and demonstrating how your fencing experience has prepared you for the rigors of college life.
So it's not just about listing your fencing accomplishments. It's about really connecting them to the bigger picture. That's really helpful.
Good.
Okay, so now let's talk about recruit athletes, because for them,
their fencing achievements become even more central to their application. But it's important to understand that the recruitment process for fencing is highly competitive.
I can imagine.
College coaches have limited spots on their teams. So they're looking for athletes who consistently perform at a high level.
Makes sense.
So you need to make sure that you're showcasing your accomplishments in a way that's easy for them to see.
Okay, so what are some key factors that college coaches consider?
Well, they're looking at your tournament results, your national ranking, your overall trajectory as an athlete.
Trajectory.
Yeah, like, have you been steadily improving?
Oh, yeah.
Have you shown the potential to compete at the collegiate level?
So they're looking for potential,
Yes.
not just past accomplishments.
Right, because they want to know that you're going to continue to grow and develop as an athlete.
That makes sense.
And they also want to see that you would be a good fit for their team culture.
Okay, so it's not just about athletic ability.
No, it's about the whole package.
So how can fencers demonstrate that they would be a good fit?
Well, it's important to reach out to coaches.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Express your interest in their program.
Okay.
And attending college fencing camps and tournaments can also give you valuable exposure and opportunities to connect with coaches.
So it's about building relationships,
Exactly.
not just, sending out a resume.
You want to make a personal connection. Okay, so we've been focusing a lot on fencing,
Yeah.
but let's not forget about the bigger picture of college life.
Right. College is about so much more than just academics and athletics.
Yeah, it's about exploring new interests,
Making connections.
discovering who you are as a person. And that's where extracurricular activities come in.
Right.
Colleges want to see well-rounded individuals who are passionate about something beyond just their sport.
I remember reading about a student who combined his love of fencing with his interest in robotics.
Oh, wow.
He started a robotics club at his school
That's cool.
and even led workshops to teach younger students about STEM concepts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, what?
So he was like a fencing engineer.
Yeah, kind of.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was a great example of how you can leverage your interests and skills to make a meaningful contribution to your community.
Colleges are always looking for students who will bring something unique to their campus. So it's not just about checking off boxes on your application.
It's about finding activities that genuinely excite you and allow you to grow as a person. But I imagine it can be tough to balance everything,
It definitely can.
especially for fencers who have demanding training schedules.
Yeah, time management is definitely a key skill for student athletes. It's important to be realistic about your commitments. You don't need to join every club or activity that sounds interesting. Focus on a few things that you're truly passionate about and where you can make a meaningful contribution.
Quality over quantity. And I imagine that this balance becomes even more crucial when you're thinking about the transition from high school to college.
Absolutely. College life brings a whole new level of independence and responsibility.
In what way?
Well, you'll be managing your own schedule, balancing your academic workload with your fencing commitments, and navigating a whole new social environment.
It sounds both exciting and daunting. So what advice would you give to fencers who are preparing for that transition?
Start building good habits now.
Like what?
Learn to prioritize,
Okay.
manage your time effectively, and seek help when you need it.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Exactly.
That's good advice. It's not just about getting into the most prestigious school
Right.
or the most competitive fencing program.
It's about finding an environment where you can thrive.
As a whole person.
Exactly. And remember, the college admissions process is just one chapter in a much larger story.
That's a good point.
The skills and experiences you've gained through fencing will serve you well no matter where life takes you.
So true fencing teaches you so much about discipline, resilience, strategic thinking, and teamwork. Qualities that are valuable in any field.
Absolutely.
But let's be real. This process can be pretty stressful.
Oh, yeah. It definitely can be.
There will be moments of excitement, anticipation, anxiety.
And maybe even some disappointment.
Yeah, for sure. So how can fencers manage those emotional ups and downs and stay grounded throughout the process?
Well, first and foremost, remember that you're not alone.
Okay.
Talk to your family, your friends, your coaches, your mentors.
Anyone you trust.
Exactly.
So it's about leaning on your support system.
Yes.
And recognizing that it's okay to ask for help when you need it. And remember to celebrate your accomplishments along the way. Don't get so caught up in the destination that you forget to enjoy the journey.
That's important.
And speaking of enjoying the journey,
Yes.
I have to give one last shout out to Fencing Family on Etsy. Their apparel and accessories are the perfect way to celebrate your love of fencing.
Both on and off the piste.
Seriously, their designs are so creative and stylish.
They are.
You'll definitely want to check them out at fencingfamily.etsy.com.
You won't regret it.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. I want to leave you with a question to ponder.
All right.
Even if you don't fence competitively in college, how do you see the skills and experiences you've gained from the sport shaping your future?
It's a really interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you were saying earlier, fencing teaches you discipline and resilience and all those good things.
Right.
But I think it goes even beyond that. It gives you this certain way of thinking, like a problem-solving mindset that you can apply to anything.
Fencing is all about strategy, anticipation,
Mm-hmm.
making quick decisions under pressure.
Yeah, and those are skills that are valuable in any field.
No matter what you end up doing.
Whether you're, a lawyer or a doctor or an entrepreneur, or even just like navigating everyday life.
It all comes back to those core skills
that fencing has instilled in you. And I think it's also important to mention the connections that you make through fencing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like your teammates, your coaches, the other fencers you meet at tournaments.
It's a whole community.
Yeah, it really is. And those relationships can be so valuable.
Definitely.
Not just for your fencing career, but for your life in general.
They can open doors.
Yeah, they can provide support, encouragement.
Mentorship even.
Yeah, exactly.
So even if you don't end up fencing competitively in college,
you're still part of this amazing network.
And those connections can last a lifetime.
That's so true.
It's really special.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's something that a lot of people don't realize until they've been involved in the sport for a while.
Yeah, you don't really get it until you're in it. But once you are, it stays with you.
Mm-hmm.
And, another thing to keep in mind is that college is just one step in your journey.
Right.
It's not the be-all and end-all.
It's a stepping stone.
Exactly.
And the skills and experiences you've gained through fencing will continue to shape you and open doors for you long after you've graduated from college. So to all our fencing family listeners out there who are navigating the college admissions process, remember to breathe.
Take it one step at a time.
Believe in yourself.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Embrace the journey.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And even if you don't end up fencing competitively in college,
the lessons you've learned through the sport will stay with you.
They'll help you succeed in your academic pursuits, your future careers, and your personal lives. Okay, finding the right college fit.
Sounds good.
It is, there are so many factors to consider. So where do you even begin?
Well, I think the first step is to think about your academic interests. What subjects are you passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of academic environment do you thrive in?
So many options. And then, of course, there's the fencing program itself.
Of course.
How do you evaluate different programs?
We'll start by researching the coaches,
Okay.
their coaching style,
Mm-hmm.
the team's overall performance history.
Look at their track record.
Think about the team culture. Are they competitive or more laid back? Do they prioritize individual growth or team success?
So it's about finding a program that aligns with your own values and goals and your vision for your college fencing experience.
Right.
And remember, there are many pathways to continue fencing in college.
Even if you're not competing at the varsity level.
Yeah, you could join a club team.
Take classes.
Just fence recreationally with friends.
Exactly. It's about keeping that passion alive.
Finding ways to integrate it into your college life.
Even if it's not your primary focus.
I love that.
And, speaking of keeping the passion alive,
Yes.
I have to give another shout out to our friends at Fencing Family.
Of course.
Their Etsy shop is amazing.
It is. They have such great stuff.
From t-shirts and hoodies to mugs and phone cases.
You name it, they've got it.
And it's all fencing themed.
Which is perfect for showing off your love of the sport.
Both on and off the piste.
Exactly. So be sure to check them out at fencingfamily.etsy.com.
You won't be disappointed.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the fencers themselves.
Right.
But what about the parents?
Oh, yeah. Parents play a huge role in this process.
They do. They're the ones who are supporting their kids through all of this.
Providing encouragement, guidance, a listening ear.
Especially when things get tough.
Because it can get tough.
It can. So what advice would you give to parents who are helping their fencers through the college admissions process?
Well, I think the most important thing is to communicate.
Okay.
Talk to your child about their goals and aspirations.
Make sure you're on the same page.
Exactly. And be realistic about expectations.
That's a good point.
Not every fencer is going to go to the Olympics.
Right. Or get a full scholarship to an Ivy League school.
But that doesn't mean they can't have a successful and fulfilling college experience.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important for parents to be supportive.
Of course.
Even when things don't go according to plan.
Because sometimes they won't.
Right? There'll be setbacks and disappointments.
But it's important to help your child learn from those experiences.
And to keep moving forward.
Exactly. College admissions is a marathon, not a sprint.
That's a good analogy.
And it's important to remember that it's just one chapter in a much larger story.
The skills and experiences that your child gains through fencing will serve them well no matter where life takes them. I think that's a great message to end on.
I agree.
So to all our Sensing family listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into college admissions.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you found it helpful and informative.
And we wish you all the best in your college search.
Remember to keep those blades sharp, those spirits high, and those dreams big.
And don't forget to check out Fencing Family on Etsy
For all your fencing apparel and accessory needs.
They're the best.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.